Marcus Chen stood in the toy aisle at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, staring at 17 different dolls like they held the secrets of the universe. His daughter's 8th birthday was in 6 hours, and he'd just realized the specific doll she wanted, the one she'd circled in the catalog with 3 red markers and labeled "Please Daddy," was sold out everywhere within 100 miles. He'd called 43 stores. He'd offered to pay triple. Nothing. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting everything in that particular shade of desperation only late-night shopping can produce. Other tired souls wandered the aisles, a college student grabbing energy drinks, an elderly man reading greeting cards, a mother with a sleeping toddler draped over her shoulder. Marcus checked his watch. 11:07 p.m. His driver was waiting outside. His phone had 63 unread emails about tomorrow's acquisition deal worth $800 million. And all he could think about was disappointing his little girl. "Excuse me, mister." The voice was so small he almost missed it. Marcus turned to find a girl, maybe 7 years old, in a wrinkled school uniform with a plaid skirt and a white shirt that had what looked like spaghetti sauce on the collar. She clutched a crumpled dollar bill in one small fist, and her eyes were red-rimmed, her braids coming loose from whatever style they'd started in that morning. She looked up at him with an expression that made his chest hurt, hope mixed with the kind of resignation no child should know. "My mom says wishes don't work," she whispered, glancing toward a tired-looking woman in scrubs slumped on a bench near the pharmacy section. The woman's head was tilted back against the wall, eyes closed, her hands still bearing the indentations from latex gloves. "But I wished every night for a month. Can you help mine?" Marcus crouched down, his $1,000 suit pants creasing against the scuffed linoleum floor. Up close, he could see the girl had been crying recently. "What did you wish for, sweetheart?" She pointed at a science kit on the top shelf. $47.99, according to the bright yellow tag. The ultimate chemistry explorer set, complete with a microscope, test tubes, and 50 experiments. Her dollar bill trembled in her hand like a leaf in wind. "Mom works 2 jobs since Dad left. I heard her crying about the bills last week when she thought I was sleeping. I got straight A's in science this year, perfect scores on every test, and I thought maybe if I wished hard enough and saved my lunch money." Her voice cracked like ice breaking. "But Mom says wishes are for rich people. She says poor kids have to be practical." Something sharp twisted in Marcus's chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in years. The sensation of being seen, really seen, by the universe. He'd been that kid once, 25 years ago in Queens, brilliant and hungry for knowledge, pressing his face against bookstore windows, watching other children get everything while he got excuses and empty promises. Before the startup. Before the patent that changed everything. Before the billions. Before he became the single dad who could buy anything except time with his daughter or his late wife back from the cancer that took her 2 years ago. The girl was still looking at him, waiting, as if she somehow knew he was different from other adults who'd walk past or give her a pitying smile. "What's your name?" "Lily." "Lily, your mom is wrong about one thing." He stood, reached up, and pulled the science kit down from a shelf. Then he grabbed 2 more kits, the advanced biology set and the physics fundamentals box. Then 3 books on chemistry, 2 on astronomy, and a beginner's coding kit he spotted 1 aisle over. Wishes do work. But not the way people think. They don't work because we close our eyes and hope. They work because someone opens their eyes and decides to act. He walked toward the mother, who startled awake as his shadow fell across her, fear immediately crossing her face when she saw the armful of items and the expensive watch on his wrist. "Sir, we can't. My daughter shouldn't have bothered you." "I'm Marcus Chen. I run Pacific Tech Industries." He set everything down gently on the bench beside her and pulled out his phone. "Your daughter has straight A's in science." The woman, her name tag read Grace, RN, and had a small smiley face sticker beside it, nodded slowly, confusion and wariness mixing in her expression. "Every test. Every quiz. Her teacher says she's gifted, but we can't afford the special programs, and..." Marcus was already typing rapidly, his thumbs flying across the screen. "I'm creating a scholarship fund tomorrow morning, first thing. Full ride, kindergarten through PhD if she wants it, for exceptional students in financial need. Lily's the first recipient." He showed her the email he'd just sent to his assistant, marked urgent with 3 red exclamation points. "You'll get the official paperwork by Monday with all the legal details, but this," he pulled out his business card and wrote his personal cell number on the back, "this is my promise. My word. And I've built a $20 billion company on keeping my word." Lily's mouth hung open, her dollar bill forgotten in her hand. Grace started crying, not the quiet tears Marcus had seen before, but deep, shaking sobs of relief that made other shoppers glance over. "The toys are just a bonus," Marcus said gently, "because here's what I learned the hard way. Wishes do work, but only when someone with power decides to give a damn. My daughter Sophie wishes I was home more. She wished it last week when I missed her school play. I can't fix that tonight, but I can be the person I needed when I was Lily's age. I can be the stranger who changed everything." He paid for everything at the register, $347.82 total, nothing to him, everything to them. The cashier, a teenager with purple hair, smiled as she bagged the items. As Marcus turned to leave, Lily grabbed his hand with her small, sticky fingers. "Thank you," she whispered, looking up at him with eyes that suddenly burned with something fierce and bright. "I'm going to be a scientist. A real one. And I'm going to help kids like me someday. I promise." "I know you will," Marcus said, crouching down one more time. "And when you do, remember this moment. Remember that wishes work when we make them work for each other. That's the real magic, Lily. Not hoping. Doing." He stood to leave, but the cashier called him back. "Sir, we found one in the back." She held up the exact doll Sophie wanted, somehow miraculously discovered after he'd explained his situation. "Sometimes," she said with a knowing smile, "wishes work both ways." Marcus took the doll, its box slightly dented but perfect, and looked back at Lily, who was already opening her science kit with reverent hands. Grace was on the phone, crying, laughing, telling someone, maybe her mother, maybe a friend, about the miracle that just happened in L7. As he walked to his car, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in 2 years. Not just satisfaction. Not just purpose. But the bone-deep certainty that he'd just witnessed the moment everything in his life pivoted toward meaning. The acquisition tomorrow suddenly seemed less important than the call he'd make to his lawyers at dawn. Sophie's birthday party suddenly felt like a celebration of more than just another year. It felt like the beginning of something that would outlive them all. The night air was cold, but Marcus felt warm. Wishes did work. He'd just proven it. And tomorrow, he'd prove it again. Marcus got home at midnight to find his mother still awake in the kitchen, carefully piping pink frosting roses onto Sophie's birthday cake. Each rose was perfect, delicate, the kind of detail that came from a woman who'd raised him alone after his father left, working 3 jobs and still finding time to make birthdays magical. "Did you find it?" she asked without looking up, her steady hands never wavering. He held up the doll box like a trophy. "Found something better too, Mom." She glanced at his face, and whatever she saw there made her set down the piping bag. "Tell me." So he did. He told her about Lily, about the dollar bill and the science kit, about the way Grace had cried when he promised a future her daughter deserved. His mother listened, and when he finished, she walked over and kissed his forehead like he was 8 years old again. "Your father would be proud," she whispered. "Wait, your other father. The one who mattered. Mr. Chen from the library who gave you those books." Marcus smiled. He'd taken the name Chen legally when he was 18, honoring the librarian who'd smuggled him advanced textbooks and believed in a poor kid who lived in his car for 2 months during senior year. "I think I finally understand what he was trying to teach me." The next morning, Sophie squealed over the doll at 6 a.m., launching herself into Marcus's arms with such force they both tumbled onto the living room carpet. "You found her. You found her, Daddy." She clutched the doll and kissed his cheek 17 times. He counted, and in that moment, exhausted and happy, Marcus knew he'd made the right choice last night. But he was also already on the phone with his legal team, then his foundation director, then his CFO. By noon, the Chen Foundation scholarship was real. $50 million in endowment funding, structured to last indefinitely with smart investments. Starting with Lily Chen, no relation, but he liked the symmetry and told his lawyers to leave the coincidence alone. The universe had a sense of humor. His assistant brought lunch to his home office while he worked. "Sir, you have the acquisition meeting at 2. Push it to 4. This matters more." By Monday morning, everything changed in ways Marcus never anticipated. A pharmacy security camera had caught the entire exchange in the toy aisle. Every word, every gesture. Someone who recognized Marcus from a TechCrunch profile had posted the footage with the caption, "Billionaire CEO creates scholarship after meeting girl in toy aisle." Within 6 hours, it had 40 million views. His phone exploded. CNN wanted an interview. Good Morning America. The Wall Street Journal. His PR team was fielding 300 requests. But more importantly, other CEOs were calling. Sarah Chen from Biogenesis wanted to contribute $5 million. The founder of EDU Tech pledged $10 million. By Tuesday afternoon, the Chen Foundation had grown to $97 million, and applications were flooding in from teachers nominating students across the country. Marcus sat in his office, staring at the numbers, feeling something close to overwhelmed. His assistant knocked. "Sir, you have a personal call on line 3. Grace Martinez." He grabbed the phone. "Grace." "Mr. Chen." Her voice was shaking, but this time with joy, not exhaustion. "I don't know how to thank you. Everything's been incredible." The paperwork came through. The school called about advanced placement programs. Lily's teacher cried when we told her. But Lily wanted to tell you something herself. She's been practicing what to say all morning. There was a shuffling sound, then Lily's voice came through, excited and breathless, tumbling over words. "Mr. Chen, I got the books. All of them. And I did the first 3 experiments already, and the volcano one worked perfectly, and my teacher said I could enter the state science fair with my project about water purification and Mr. Chen." She paused for breath. My mom stopped crying. She smiles now. Every single day. She sings in the morning like she used to before Daddy left. You didn't just help me. You helped her too. Marcus's throat tightened. He looked at the photo on his desk, Sophie and his late wife Sarah at the beach, both laughing, frozen in a moment of pure happiness he'd give anything to return to. "Lily, can I tell you something? My daughter Sophie. Yesterday morning at breakfast, she asked why I was crying when I put her to bed on her birthday. I told her I met a girl who reminded me why I work so hard. Who reminded me that the best part of having everything isn't keeping it. It's sharing it with people who need it most. You gave me a gift too, sweetheart. You reminded me what actually matters. Did your wish come true?" Lily asked, her voice going soft. "At the store, you looked sad. Like you were wishing for something you couldn't buy." He glanced through his office window where Sophie was in the conference room, supposedly doing homework but actually playing with her doll while simultaneously reading a book about robotics his mother had given her. She'd asked to come to work with him today, and for the first time in months, he'd said yes instead of maybe later. "Yeah," he said quietly. "I wish to be a better man. A better father. And you helped make that happen, Lily. You showed me what courage looks like." 6 months later, Marcus stood at a podium in the Pacific Convention Center, looking out at 2,000 people gathered for the Chen Foundation's first annual gala. The numbers were staggering, 287 scholars in the first year, from kindergartners to graduate students. Average family income, $23,000. Average GPA, 3.97. Every single one of them brilliant, hungry, deserving. Lily and Grace sat in the front row, both wearing new dresses. Grace had quit one of her jobs and enrolled in a nursing management program, also covered by the foundation. Lily had 1/3 place at the state science fair with her water purification project, and a university professor was already talking about mentoring her. But Sophie was backstage, pacing and nervous, clutching note cards for the speech she'd insisted on writing herself. Marcus had tried to talk her out of it, worried about the pressure, but she'd looked at him with her mother's determined eyes and said, "Daddy, I have something important to say." Now, as he introduced her, watching her walk to the microphone in her purple dress with her hair in the same braids her mother used to do, Marcus felt his heart might burst. "My name is Sophie Chen," she began, her voice small but growing stronger. 6 months ago, my daddy came home different. He was still sad about Mommy being gone. We both are, but he was also happy in a new way. He told me about Lily, about wishes and science kits and promises. And I realized something. She looked directly at Marcus. My daddy is a superhero. Not because he's rich. Because he uses his powers to help people. The audience was silent, captivated. But superheroes need to take care of themselves too, Sophie continued, glancing at her note cards then pushing them aside. So I made a wish. I wish my daddy would spend more time at home. And you know what? Wishes do work. Because Lily taught him something, and now he picks me up from school twice a week. We do science experiments. We build robots. We talk about Mommy without just being sad. Her voice wavered. Lily, if you're listening, thank you. You saved my daddy by letting him save you. You showed him that love isn't just something you feel. It's something you do. Marcus couldn't see through his tears. The audience was standing, applauding, but he only cared about getting to his daughter. He met her halfway, scooping her up even though she was getting too big for it, holding her while she cried happy tears into his shoulder. Later, at the reception, Lily approached with a handmade card, the kind of craft project that involved way too much glitter and honest love. Inside, in careful handwriting, "You taught me wishes do work, but only when we wish for each other instead of just ourselves. Thank you for wishing for me when nobody else did. I'm wishing for you too now, that you find even more time with Sophie. Because you deserve your wishes too. Love, Lily. Future scientist." That night, Marcus turned off his phone for the first time in 3 years. Completely off. No vibrate. No emergency exceptions. He and Sophie built a blanket fort in the living room using every cushion and sheet in the house. They did science experiments from one of Lily's kits, creating a vinegar and baking soda volcano that erupted with far too much enthusiasm, covering them both in foam. They talked about everything: school, friends, memories of her mother, dreams of the future, until Sophie fell asleep against his shoulder, her breathing deep and peaceful. His assistant found them there at 7 the next morning, both covered in dried baking soda, Sophie drooling on his expensive Armani suit. The blanket fort collapsed around them like a cocoon. "Sir," she whispered urgently, "you have the board meeting in an hour, and the merger." "Reschedule everything," Marcus said quietly, carefully adjusting Sophie's head so she could sleep more comfortably. "Cancel today. I have a wish to work on." His assistant stared. "Sir." "A little girl taught me that wishes work when you stop waiting for magic and start creating it. I've been creating it for 287 kids. Time to create some for my own daughter. For myself." He smiled. "Tell the board I'll see them tomorrow. Today, I'm exactly where I need to be." Because Lily was right. Wishes worked. Not through magic or miracles, but through action and love and the courage to change. He'd changed the trajectory of hundreds of lives. Now it was time to change his own, to be present, to be grateful, to be the father Sophie needed and the man he wanted to be. The blanket fort smelled like childhood and second chances. Sophie stirred, mumbled something about robots, and smiled in her sleep. Outside, the sun was rising over the city Marcus had conquered with ambition and brilliance. But inside, in the ruins of a blanket fort covered in science experiment residue, Marcus Chen had finally found what he'd been searching for all along. Not success. Not validation. Not even redemption. Just this, the simple, profound magic of being exactly where love needed him to be.